All right, welcome to The Explainer. So today, we're going to tackle one of music's most misunderstood bands, Phish. And we're going to do it by looking at their landmark live record, Alive 1. See, this album is more than just a collection of songs. It's really a snapshot of a band caught in the act of inventing a language all its own.
So for a lot of people, this is the image that comes to mind, right? Phish. You think endless, noodling guitar solos, maybe some patchouli, and this idea that they're just a carbon copy of the Grateful Dead. And yeah, that narrative really took hold right around when Alive 1 came out. But the thing is, it's just a frustratingly incomplete picture. Because, well, it's not the whole story. Not even close. So in this explainer, we're going to use their first official live album, Alive 1, as our key. We're going to use it to decode what's really going on in the music. We're talking about the method, the influences, and this kind of secret, private language that inspires such a passionate and, yeah, often misunderstood following. Okay, so let's get right into it. We're going to start by decoding just a single moment, resuming way in on one 9-minute jam from the album. It's from a track called Harry Hood. And what's so cool is that by breaking down just this one moment, you can basically see the entire philosophy of the band in miniature. So, in a typical rock solo, one person steps into the spotlight. That's not what's happening here. Instead, the whole band follows this really distinct, unspoken arc of creating something together. They have to wordlessly decide, okay, now we build tension. Now we release it. And most importantly, they have to decide when to take that huge risk and just leap into the unknown, all at the same time. And this right here, this defines the core game that Phish is playing on stage. Think about it like this. The object of the Harry Hood Jam is for all four of them to land on the final vocal line at the exact same time, but with no map. They can go as far out as they want, wander anywhere, as long as they all get to that finish line together. So no, this is not random noodling. It's the spontaneous creation of a really complex musical structure. I mean, it's a piece of art that exists for just a moment, and then poof, it's gone. I love how one fan put it, it's like four musicians flocking like birds, moving as a single organism.
So the big question is, how in the world do they pull this off? This musical telepathy night after night. Let's take a look at how they built this connection, because believe me, it is not an accident. It's actually the result of like a decade-long program of intense and, let's be honest, pretty weird practice.
And this really gets to the heart of it, the fundamental difference. In a normal rock show, right, the band lays down a solid foundation for the soloist to play over. But with Phish, there is no fixed foundation. The rhythm, the chords, the melody, it's all up for grabs all the time. They become what they call a single move-in chord, where every single instrument contributes equally to where the music is going. So how did they get there? Well, they developed this private language through years of these super rigorous, almost mathematical exercises. And get this, these weren't about learning songs. They were basically games designed to sharpen their listening skills to an almost supernatural level. Take the Hey game, for example. They would practice these complex patterns until they could all, at the exact same moment, say hey in perfect unison. That was the signal that they'd all locked into the exact same idea. This really gets to the crucial point. Their technical skill, how good they are at their instruments, that's not the point. Not at all. It's just the tool that allows them to enter this state of shared ignorance and discovery. The real thrill isn't in their virtuosity, it's in their willingness to get completely lost, together, right in front of thousands of people. So where does this all come from? Well, this unique way of making music comes from a really vast and honestly pretty unexpected musical library. It goes way beyond what you'd think of as the typical jam band family tree. For one, they pull heavily from the big, world-building ambition of 70s prog rock bands, like Genesis. Bands that would create these entire alternate realities in their songs with their own mythologies. Then you've got iconoclasts like Frank Zappa. From him, they inherited this wild mix of super intelligent, complex compositions, but also this deep love for just absurdist B-movie weirdness. It's serious music that absolutely does not take itself too seriously. They were also huge fans of that experimental, genre-melting spirit of 70s jazz rock fusion. Think about those cosmic, rhythmically tricky, and just plain strange grooves from bands that came out of Miles Davis's electric period. And this one might surprise you, but they also pull from the quirky, intellectual energy of post-punk bands like the Talking Heads. Their album Remain in Light, with all its layered, interlocking grooves, was a massive inspiration. So you see, Phish doesn't just mix genres together like you're making a collage. They actually treat fusion as a process. They create a musical environment where all these different styles can just kind of dissolve into each other and become something totally new and unpredictable.
And, this sound is a really authentic reflection of who they are. I mean, they were suburban kids, they grew up absorbing pop culture from the radio, from the mall, and then, as their guitarist, Trey Anastasio, puts it, they went searching for something deeper. And their music, it's like that search, made audible.
So, what does all this mean? What's the big takeaway here? Well, a live one isn't just a collection of long songs. It's a document. It's a snapshot of a band in the very act of inventing its own language, right there in front of a live audience. The author of the book we're drawing from, Walter Holland, he describes the world of Phish with just a perfect term: high weirdness. And it really is this whole universe of inside jokes, secret language, and kind of mystical imagery. And that's why listening to this music isn't really a passive thing. For the fans, it's like an invitation into this mystery cult. It's a really unique community with its own rituals and inside jokes, all built around the shared thrill of not knowing what's going to happen next. I love this quote. All that intense practice, all that skill, it's not about showing off. It's about focusing their collective energy. It's about taking 4 separate minds and making their light so coherent that it becomes something sharp, something precise, something really, really powerful.
And in the end, that's what Phish and an album like Alive One really challenge us to do. They ask us to listen differently. Not just for a finished, polished song, but for the raw, exhilarating sound of communication itself. To listen for the risk, the trust, and the pure joy of creating something new together in the moment.